Hey, it's Tansel. So what do you do if the memory training you're doing is not working for you? Well, in this video, I want to show you the things you can do to improve your memory training and also how to essentially level up so you can get faster, better, stronger, all that sort of stuff. So let's go. Hi, it's Tansel, four-time Australian memory champion, international best-selling author, and your memory coach. And today we're going to discuss looking at some methods for you just to improve your memory training. Because if you're currently stuck, if you're in a plateau, if you can't level up in certain training areas or games that you're playing, then this video hopefully will help you. So let's discuss. Now, let's look at the problems that could be happening when you're training, right? The problem is obviously recall. Right, so when you're training your memory, you're obviously practicing your memorization. The problem is that, let's say you could be memorizing really well, or you think you are, and then you go and do some recall, and you can't remember, you forget, right? So that's one problem. The other problem is that your memorization is not very effective, right? So what I mean by that is the stories that you create, the images that you create, all of that is sort of lacking, right? That's why you're not getting the recall, and that's why memory training is not working for you, right? So let's look at a couple of those elements and see if we can dig deep and understand why that's happening. Because if you can understand, then you can implement these and improve, right? That's what we want to be able to do. So I do this a lot with my coaching clients as well, of how to improve their current state so that they're not just struggling along. Now they've got something to work on. And if you want to work with me, by the way, I've got a link down below. You can just jump on my website, tanselali.com, and contact me there. How to improve your memorization. Now, we talked about this in a lot of videos, and I talked about smash and scope, using your senses, all that sort of stuff. But I want to get into the important bits here. I'll get straight into it, right? So if your memorization is lacking, what does that mean? That means the connection is not strong enough, right? So how do we make a strong connection? There's a couple of things we can do. Number one is improve the story that you're creating, right? So if you, for example, are practicing names, what you can do is create a story around that person's name and how you can use that in everyday life. So for example, let's say I meet someone named Sandra. Right, now that's Sandra. I'm going to imagine sand. Right, now sand is great. It gives you an image, but it's not strong enough yet. I haven't connected it to that person yet. So what I want to be able to do is, let's say I meet that Sandra and she's at work, right? I sit down with her in the meeting and she tells me her name, Sandra. I go, okay, now I'm going to create a visual of sand in her hair, and she's flicking her hair full of sand everywhere in the meeting, right? Notice what I did there in the story. I created a scene like from a movie, right? Or a TV show, whatever you want to call it. But let's just say you've created a scene, and the scene was she's got sand in her hair. Maybe she's making a noise, right? She's shrieking. She's making a noise, sand going everywhere on the meeting room table, right? Now, this isn't something that you see every day, right? So your brain's going to go, hang on, what the hell's going on here, right? So you made that memorable by creating a story and connecting it with her. Now, the other thing to be able to do is obviously you want to be able to visualize the sand. Right? Now, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, of course, Tansel, yeah, that's why she's got sand, she's flicking it everywhere, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people can't necessarily visualize the sand because they say, oh, Sandra, sand in her hair, and then move along. Sometimes it's just a statement. You don't necessarily visualize the sand, right? This is the problem that some people have, is the visualization doesn't happen after you say the story or the statement, right? And this is something to, I guess, focus on when you are memorizing, is instead of just saying it and moving along, say the story, but then try and think to yourself, okay, can I see something from this? So it only takes like half a second to make this mindful exercise of saying, okay, Sandra, sand, can I see the sand? Got it. Just taking that little extra effort to visualize sand, and then the story will help you remember. Right? Now, for those watching saying, yeah, I'm making the stories, I'm making the visuals, how else do I memorize better? Because what's happening is that I'm not leveling up, or I'm not able to get past a certain point of memorization. So let's look at that challenge, right? How do you improve recall? Right? There's a ton of videos I've done in terms of improving your encoding, but I'll just quickly explain what that is now as well. So instead of memorization, what you can do is if you can memorize playing cards, instead of memorizing them, just flick through the images that you've got on the cards, right? If you don't know how to do cards, if you're memorizing numbers, you can flick through the peg words. If you don't have any peg words for cards, numbers, all that sort of stuff, just look at social media, right? Go through the people's names and see if you can visualize something, right? There's going to be Sandras there, there's going to be Toms, Johns, Bills, Vijay, Ranganamachandran, you name it. There's going to be a ton of stuff on there, right? And usernames, whatever. So just go through them and try and create some sort of a visual for it, right? I'm often on LinkedIn, and what I do on LinkedIn, and it's a really cool place to do some memory training, is you look at the name, right? It could be Tom Jones, for example, and it's got a managing director of such and such, right? Now I can picture, okay, Tom Jones, this is the association. I mean, I'll pick someone famous, right? I could have just given a random name, but for me, that was random. So I'm going to make up a story, and I'm going to visualize this person, managing director is at this particular company, he's managing people, and I have to make up some sort of a story that's actually using that visual capability. Then I'll move along to the next person and the next person. I don't worry about recall. Right? What this does, it strengthens your ability to create images, strengthens your ability to make up stories. So when you do go to actually train for memory, actually test your recall, you'll notice that your recall has improved. So a lot of people focus on memorization, but you can also focus on recall, right? Because that's what you're doing at the end of the day, right? You're trying to remember. You can focus on recall by practicing your encoding, your visualization, and your storytelling. And that could be done separately to training your memory. And I've already done a video on this, so you can check that out in greater detail on how you can train your memory without even memorizing stuff. So go check that one out. I'll put the link in the description. Why memory training is not working for you. We looked at the reasons why. Could be the memorization, could be the recall. Obviously, there's other things like your state of mind, right? If you're not feeling great, your memory is going to suffer. If you're under stress or duress, things like that, even if you know the greatest techniques in the world, your memory is still going to suffer. Why? Because you're under mental pressure. You have to be able to obviously fix that up first, right? And it's an easy thing to say, right? Just fix up your stress, no problem. You're going through hard times, don't worry about it, right? It's obviously not that easy. My memory gets affected when I'm in a lot of pain, because I've got Crohn's disease, and I'm even now experiencing a flare-up. So I'm in and out of hospitals at times, and even having a flare-up or in extreme pain, I'll often sort of, almost lock up mentally, and that, I won't be able to remember a lot of stuff. So, just look at the situation you're in as well. If you're training your memory and you're not getting anywhere, look at your life, think, okay, well, what's going on? Are you under pressure? Are you under stress? Are you having in a bad relationship? All of that. Once you can look at that and get help for it, right? Then you can start to ease into improving your memory and training your memory, because training your memory isn't something that should be a chore, right? It's essentially gamified learning. And I did explain in another video where I didn't just learn memory techniques, I just played the games, and that's what got me to a high level. So, and that's what you can do as well. So hopefully that's answered a few of your questions. What I tend to do is, especially these days, is I make these videos, and if you have any questions, write them down, and I'll go through one by one and comment on each one and give some coaching, because I am a memory coach at the end of the day. That's what I love doing. By the way, you can book a call with me if you're interested to work with me. But yeah, any comments, write it down below. I'll try and help you and assist you as best as I can. Subscribe and like the channel as well. We're approaching 5,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.